Macquarie National News.
It's 7 o'clock. Good evening, I'm Andrew Robertson. Wollongong detectives are investigating the apparent double murder of two men on the outskirts of the city. This follows the discovery of the bodies of the two men in their early 20s. They've apparently been shot in the back. The bodies were found in thick bush by men walking along Waterboard Road near the Cordo Dam. Police say the bodies appear to have been there for several days. Scientific squad detectives and the government medical officer are still at the scene. Australian Democrats leader Senator Don Chipp has rejected opposition claims that his party is responsible for forcing the government to recall Parliament. It'll cost up to $100,000 to recall the House of Representatives for only 1 hour this Friday to pass legislation amended last night by the Senate. Opposition Senate leader Fred Chaney has accused the Democrats of grandstanding by delaying the bill last week. But Senator Chipp says his party treated the legislation on its merits.
We didn't make a vote because the House of Representatives was going to be recalled or not. We made our decision on the merits of the case, as is contained in the press release. But we made that decision not even contemplating whether or not the House of Reps would be recalled or not, because we'd been given an undertaking that it hadn't been.
About 200,000 people have been forced to flee new flooding in eastern Bangladesh. The floods have been set off after the cyclone that ripped through the area over the weekend, killing an estimated 20,000 people. Major Indian news agencies have also estimated that around 30 to 40,000 people still remain unaccounted for. The flooding comes as international relief agencies gear up for a massive release operation in the area. The BBC's Mark Tully has more.
One of the most urgent needs of the victims is drinking water. Although reports indicate that many of the dead have now been buried by survivors in mass graves, the large number of cattle carcasses are a potential health hazard. Offers of relief from foreign countries, including Britain and America, have been received, but it's not just supplies which are needed. The means to distribute them are just as important and may well prove far harder to provide.
Updating sport, and the 1985 State of Origin Rugby League series begins in half an hour at Lang Park in Brisbane. New South Wales has been installed at 5-4 on favourite, a move which has surprised coach Terry Fernley. Fernley says despite the withdrawals of 3 internationals from the Queensland team, the Maroons will still be hard to beat.
Oh, I don't think so. I think when they get out there's no one in the world they'd be foolish enough to send players out that win 100%. And I believe a few of them haven't been playing all that well, but their State of Origin brings the best out in their team, so I don't think they'll be any different this time to the last.
A senior New South Wales policeman has appeared in court charged with conspiring to obtain a bribe. Damien Ryan reports.
Before the court was 55-year-old Ronald Arthur Ralph, a member of the anti-theft squad. Today's brief court hearing was told that between November 1982 and April 1984, Ralph and another man conspired to obtain bribery money for the superintendent. The charge alleges the money would have been accepted as an inducement to the officer to act corruptly. At the time, the superintendent was an inspector with the organised crime unit. Ralph has been released on conditional bail and will reappear in Castlereagh Street Court on June the 12th. Damien Ryan in Sydney for Macquarie National News.
It's 7:03. Sydney Supreme Court has adjourned indefinitely a bail application by 5 Bandito bikie members. The application was adjourned after a counsel for the 5 men told Mr Justice O'Brien the judge's time could be better spent. Solicitor Andrew Young told the judge to familiarise himself with details of the 5 applicants. He'd need to make a lengthy study of 10,000 pages of transcripts from ongoing committal proceedings. Mr Young said this could take a couple of months, involving a great deal of time and effort. State Transport Minister Barry Unsworth has promised to examine regulations governing the use of stereo systems and mobile telephones in cars. There have been complaints that road safety is being compromised by an apparently growing number of drivers who use mobile phones or stereo headphones while on the road. Mr Unsworth says he's asked for an opinion from the Traffic Accident Research Unit.
It's not difficult for them to pull over when the phone rings and attend to their call that way. Again, the law currently provides that you've got to be in effective control of the vehicle, and we'll have a look and see what interference the use of a telephone, which is becoming increasingly popular, might have in that regard.
The state government is to close Sydney's Luna Park for a month in July. Natural Resources Minister Janice Crozier says the closures will allow essential maintenance to be carried out on the rides at Luna Park. And Sydney's Redfern Railway Station is to get a $1.5 million facelift. State Rail Authority Executive David Hill says there'll be a new booking office, station master's office, a new footbridge and stairs, and many other improvements, including the restoration of all existing buildings. It's 7:05. Mike Bailey's Sydney weather. Cloud increasing overnight, morning fog patches and a little rain tomorrow. Winds light to moderate northerly, tending more northeast near the coast in the afternoon. Sea slight rising in the afternoon and a low swell. The expected temperature ranges for the city 14 to 20, for Liverpool and Richmond 13 to 20. It's now 19 degrees, that's 4 degrees above average. Humidity is 83%, conditions are calm. It's 7:06. I'm Andrew Robertson. 2GB News Talk 87 with more Macquarie National News after New South Wales beats Queensland in the league.
2GB offers you a chance to win a week in Rome after you've enjoyed The Heretic by Morris West. It's a play based on the life of Giordano Bruno, whose statue still stands in Rome, where he was burnt at the stake. Singapore Airlines, a great way to fly, are making available a return flight for two with a week's accommodation in Rome. Simply write your name on the back of your ticket after you've seen the play and put it in the box provided in the foyer. The Heretic is playing at the Sydney Opera House and will announce the winner on July 22nd right here on 2GB News Talk 87.
Why me? This man had every reason to be happy with his new computer until he saw the IBM system Computerland has put together for only $6,684. Starting with the IBM personal computer, the Computerland package boasts twice the storage and almost 3 times the memory of the IBM PC XT. In fact, the extras are worth well over $4,000 for just $1 more than the PC XT. So hurry into your nearest Computerland store and you'll cry for joy.
Good day, madam. Peter Happy from Ostrich Insurance. You asked me to call.
Oh, yes. Do come upstairs. I thought you'd like to see the new home we built with the money you paid on our fire claim.
Oh, like the open plan effect?
Yes. Well, you didn't pay enough to fully replace our house. In here would have been the dining room.
Nice grass down below.
While in here would have been the study.
Oh, no walls. Well, natural light's best, they say.
But here we have something we're really grateful for.
Through here, new master bedroom, I'll bet.
Well, it would have been. But we find it superb for easy access to the swimming pool.
But I can't swim!
Yes, I've heard that. Just popping out to get a buildings replacement policy from NRMA Insurance. Bye.
Would you consider a bit of mouth-to-mouth?
With an NRMA buildings replacement policy, there's no depreciation. We pay the builder the full cost of replacing whatever part of your home is destroyed. Phone us for a quote. We're on your side.
Oh, ich bin liking to trinken das Marco.
What did he say? He likes vermouth very much. But he said Marco. Oh, yes, of course. Marco is vermouth in any language.
Ich bin Marco great de tasten.
I know. Marco tastes great.
Und Marco ich de cost a little.
And Marco is value for money.
Marco vermouth is real bonza.
Marco vermouth is exceptionally good.
Oh, yes, he's bilingual, you see.
Oh, I thought he could only speak 2 languages.
Angove's Marco is vermouth in any language.
2GB News Talk 87 with tonight's Rugby League State of Origin match. Brought to you by HFC Financial Services, Carlton, one of the world's great brewers, PubMart and Monia Metal Building Products. With uninterrupted football action, here's Peter Peters and Greg Hartley.
Well, good evening and welcome to Lang Park, match number 12 in the State of Origin series, New South Wales versus Queensland. And the news from Lang Park is that heavy rain has been falling for about the last half an hour here at Lang Park, and the pitch is going to be fairly slippery. It's in good condition, the ground, and the rain has gone away for the moment. A good crowd building up here at Lang Park, and you can feel the fever as you can at every State of Origin match. Uninterrupted rugby league on 2GB News Talk 87 tonight, coming to you through Carlton, brewers of 2.1 LA, Monia Metal Building Products, PubMart and HFC Finance. Good evening now to the former Test referee, Greg Hartley. Great scene here, Greg.
Made a sensational scene this evening. The crowd, as you said earlier, the rain's been tumbling down, but all the umbrellas and raincoats came out and they haven't left. As a matter of fact, I know, Peter, just coming back into the broadcasting position, that people are outside 10 deep, 12 deep, still trying to get in.
Well, New South Wales, surprisingly enough, are odds-on favourites to win this State of Origin match, despite the fact that they trail 8-3 since the series began in 1980. And there's plenty of people here tonight tipping the Maroons to turn it on again. And I just wonder how Bobby McCarthy, the former great South Sydney player for many, many years with the Rabbits, and also been coaching in Brisbane for a few seasons now. I wonder which way he's going to go in tonight's match. Our sideline eye, Matt Hyde, has Bobby McCarthy right now.
Well, Bobby, what is the feeling here, and what are your thoughts on the result?
Well, I still think I think New South Wales can get away with this. I think it's the best side they've selected since 1980. That night they were beaten, but I thought they were beaten by a better side in the night. In the last couple of years, I think the New South Wales side has been substandard, if I can use that term. But I think tonight this is a real big, strong pack, and I think that with the Queensland side, there's too many ifs and buts about their side. They've gone into the game with a lot of players out of form, and also with a few injury worries. So I think New South Wales, I think they might be just slight favourites at this stage.
Entitled to be 6-4 on favourites?
Well, I think so. I think, as I said, the nucleus of the New South Wales side is in form, and the opposition, Queensland, they're out of form. 3 or 4 key players, and also to a certain extent, Wally Lewis. He's only been playing very ordinary, but they're all relying on this crowd here tonight to G him up. But I don't know if that'd be the answer or not.
What about the loss of June Miles and Kerry Bowstead? A big loss?
Possibly their experience. We know that Chris Close will come in for Gene Miles, and he knows what it's all about, having played in Sydney the last 4 or 5 years. And Dale Shearer, he's only a youngster, but he showed that he's got maturity beyond his years, and he'll go all right. But I think with their counterparts, I think they'll go a lot better, especially Johnny Ferguson. I think he'll relish in this environment.
There must be some doubt about the fitness of Mark Murray, the halfback.
Yes, well, Mark he's only been back about 6 weeks, and his form doesn't even warrant to be in first grade. And I think he's only made the Queensland side on past selections. And well, Mark will play right tonight because he's only mainly a defender. He won't make any breaks or anything, but he'll defend pretty good. And now the ground's pretty heavy. He may come to his own. It might slow Stevie Mortimer up, but. He's out of form, but I think Stevie Mortimer will show him a thing or two.
Talking about this ground, it is slippery, but how does it hold up under rain? It must be better than the Sydney cricket ground.
Well, I think so. I think there's a lot of sand been put underneath it in prior years, and I think it holds the water pretty good. But I think they'll go right, New South Wales, as long as they don't go into the show when the crowd start roaring.
It is a big crowd, isn't it? I'd hate to have seen it if it was a fine night.
Yeah, well, it's not as good as it's not as big as it normally is. I think the rain's kept the film away, and also the early screening on television might have kept a few thousand down, which is to New South Wales' benefit. Instead of having 34,000, only have 24.
Anyway, thanks, Bobby McCarthy.
Yeah, thanks very much.
There he is, our sideline eye, Matt Hyde, with one of Australia's greatest post-war second rowers, Bobby McCarthy. And what a great sight it was to see the big fellow making break after break for Australia and South Sydney and Canterbury Bankstown during his illustrious career. He's going for a New South Wales victory tonight, and he seems to think that perhaps Steve Mortimer is going to be the key player in the New South Wales side. Greg, you've got the Queensland side.
I sure have, Pete. In the fullback position, we've got Colin Scott. The wingers are Dale Shearer and Johnny Rebo. The centre three-quarters, Mal Meninga and Chris Close. The 5'8", captain of Australia, wearing the number 6 jumper, Wally Lewis. The halfback, Mark Murray. The lock forward, Bobby Linder. The props, Dave Brown and Greg Dowling. The second rows are Paul McCabe and Paul Vorton, and Greg Kinescu takes up the hooking spot.
And the New South Wales wearing the sky blue, coached by Terry Fernley. Fullback is Gary Jack. The wingers, Eric Groth and John Ferguson. What a great pairing on the flanks tonight for the New South Wales Blues. Chris Mortimer and Michael O'Connor. O'Connor making his debut in big-time rugby league tonight. And what a testing occasion for the former Wallaby star. 5'8" is Brett Kenny. The halfback and captain of New South Wales is Steve Mortimer. Wayne Pearce is the lock forward. The second rowers are Peter Wynn and Noel Cleal. Up front, Stevie Roach and Pat Jarvis, and bouncing Benny Elias is the hooker for the New South Wales side. The reserves are Steve Ella and Peter Tunks. The referee from New South Wales, Kevin Roberts, and the touch judges, Brian Grant and John Colenso. It should be a spectacular match. We're around about 20 minutes from kickoff here at Lang Park. The crowd is just getting through the early stages of the game, where a draw has taken place in the cup final of the under-18s up here between Brisbane and Ipswich. A very good game of football, and the young Ipswich side down by 14 points to nil early in the game, coming back to get a draw. As is always at Lang Park, I think we're going to see some skydivers come in. They still think that that's part of entertainment up here in Brisbane, and they'll be jumping out of the sky shortly, I imagine, and a couple of spots marked for them to land, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the maroon is going to land closer to the X than the blue one, Greg. I think they put that on especially.
Yeah, I think they do. It gees the crowd up when you see the fellow in blue missing his target, then you see the fellow in maroon smack on the target. The crowd goes wild, and we've got the 4X signs out there, Peter, or the crosses, 4X2s, so they shouldn't miss the mark. And now they've just got a beautiful big flare right in the middle of the ground. But I don't think I'd like to be jumping out of an aeroplane tonight with this rain coming out when all you can see is a little tiny white dot with the white dot, I should say, with the lights here. It's a very small target to hit, Peter, when you jump from probably 4,000 or 5,000 feet.
Mate, that is for the birds and for dead set crazy people.
Mate, I'm just trying to figure out the size of the parachute, mate, that you'd have to use if we pushed you out of a plane.
Mate, you wouldn't have to worry, because I wouldn't get up there to do that. I'm lucky enough to be coming up in a plane today, and I don't enjoy that all that much anyway. But,
I know, I watched you.
A very warm welcome too to our listeners through 2GB News Talk 87 in Sydney for the big one, New South Wales and Queensland out of Lang Park. We'll take a break and be back in a few moments with some more interviews.
When Win Humphries discovered the amazing Bionic Products negative ion generator, her life changed dramatically for the better.
Well, since the age of 2, I've had allergic rhinitis, and I've been under specialists for this, but I was still blocked in the nose a lot of the time. Anyway, 2 years ago, I heard about Bionic Products, bought one of these machines, and it really eliminated the problem.
Bionic Products, 387-6888, 387-6888 now.
When you buy a new Mazda, you want the best price, and you want to be sure of first-class after-sales service. Eurocars Mazda have been the Mazda Service Dealer of the Year for the past 2 years, so you won't do better in the service area. And where prices are concerned, Eurocars Mazda are always competitive, but particularly so at the moment. They've just taken delivery of their last shipment of new Mazdas at pre-devaluation prices. Eurocars Mazda at Crow's Nest, Edgecliff and Narrabeen. Remember the name, Eurocars Mazda. You could save yourself hundreds.
Hear Michael Pascoe's Stock Exchange and Business News daily during the Sundown Rundown, brought to you by Custom Credit Business Division on 2GB News Talk 87.
And now the big moment. Yes, the mayor is about to officially open the new plaza, but there is some confusion here. I think he has the wrong speech. One of the aldermen is making hurried changes. Let's see now. Yes, he is highlighting sections and making some notes as well, all with the same pen. It's a stapler. The alderman is using a mark and write pen from Stapler.
As your mayor, it gives me...
Now there is a pen that will highlight and write as well. Mark and Write from Stapler. Available in 6 bright colours from newsagents and stationery suppliers.
2GB News Talk 87. With uninterrupted football action, here's Peter Peters and Greg Hartley.
Welcome back to Lang Park in Brisbane, the first match of the 1985 State of Origin Series, New South Wales versus Queensland. And an announcement has just come over, much to the delight of the Queensland crowd here at Lang Park, that the New South Wales dressing room, and bear in mind that New South Wales, termed as the cockroaches by those north of the Tweed, have claimed that the New South Wales dressing room has been sprayed, Greg, I understand, with some Peebo or something to get rid of the cockroaches.
Yeah, they've just, a couple of fellows went in there and with a couple of cans of Peebo and sprayed. The dressing room's out, and as you said, to the delight of the crowd. We've just had our first skydiver in, and if he was looking for the maroon flare, he's missed out. But we've got another one coming in now, and he's in the maroon jumper. Yeah, the maroon jumper, would you believe it, right on target. Here comes another maroon jumper now, and he's going to be right on. Oh, he's smack dab in the centre.
Yeah, terrific stuff, isn't it? I mean, I really can think that the Queensland Rugby League can come up with something a little bit better than skydivers year after year. The Blues haven't come down yet, but they'll certainly get an almighty boo when they come down. I understand, Greg, that they've barred beer being brought in Eskies tonight, and perhaps we might see the crowd a little bit well behaved. But listen to the boos now for the Blues coming down.
Oh,
and here they come, one after the other.
Yep.
And they're not getting too much of a warm welcome here, but that's part of the scene at Lang Park for State of Origin Rugby League. Greg, tonight's game, obviously it's going to be very fiery early. Kevin Roberts, the referee for tonight's fixture, one of the most experienced referees in Australia, will probably get a test match overseas later this year, bearing in mind that neutral referees control tests these days, so you can't referee a test match in your home country anymore, but referee Kevin Roberts certainly well up to this situation.
Yes, he is, Peter. He's going to need all his experience this evening because, as you said, it should be very fire in the opening probably 10 minutes or so of the game. But Kevin has the ability. The strong point of his refereeing is that he has control of any situation that he becomes involved in, and I don't think for 1 minute that both packs would like to take on Sergeant Kevin Roberts.
Okay, the New South Wales side today, in the New South Wales side tonight, making their debuts in the sky blue, Michael O'Connor from St George, John Ferguson from Eastern Suburbs, and also making his debut for the Blues in State of Origin football is Benny Elias, the youngster from the Balmain Club in Sydney. And I spoke to Benny this afternoon, very nervous and looking forward, of course, to a great match. But Greg, with the rain absolutely tumbling down now, I think that probably Benny's greatest asset is his ability to be more mobile than the bigger forwards, but that's going to be nullified tonight in these sort of conditions. And I would think that Benny's brilliant play around the rucks will be nullified a great deal by the weather.
Well, the bigger fellas, Peter, I think, as you said, like Cleel, Wynn, Roach, and looking at the Queensland side, Dave Brown, Bobby Linder and Greg Dowling are going to be bobbed down. Maybe it just might work in the reverse, Peter, because he's very nippy from behind the back of the ruck. He'll certainly get his kicking game into action because the big fellas are going to miss their footing. They'll all have their long sprigs in this evening. So it may work in reverse, and he can get away and make those initial breaks through the first line of defence and then offload to his supports.
Yeah, well, the crowd just huddled under umbrellas here at Lang Park now. It's a pretty sorry sight as the countdown to the start of the match draws near. We're about 10 or 11 minutes from kickoff, and it is absolutely pouring here at Lang Park. And looking at the crowd in front of us, there are thousands and thousands huddled under gaily coloured umbrellas. But it's a dismal sight, Greg, and it's a shame that that this game is going to be spoilt somewhat. I tend to think that rain is a great leveller. We saw in Sydney last year with Queensland scoring a win in terrible conditions, far worse than those that prevail here tonight. But it was a lucky try off the bar that scored the winning try for Queensland, and I think it tends to be really a lucky dip in conditions like this.
Yes, it will be again this evening, there's no doubt about it. And if we'd have had dry conditions prevailing here this evening, I think we would have seen the best of the New South Wales side. We've got the speed of John Ferguson out there, big Eric Growth on a very dry pitch. I think that Dale Shearer and Johnny Rebo would like to be, or rather be, somewhere else other than on the football field, particularly looking down the throat of Eric Growth running over the top of you. But as you said, yes, the rain is a big leveller, and we'll probably get back to probably 2 or 3 points depending on whether our fellows can kick the goals.
Okay, let's go through the sides man for man. In the fullback positions, Colin Scott versus Gary Jack. Gary Jack, the reigning Australian Test fullback, he would have to have an edge under most conditions over Colin Scott. Would you agree?
I would agree, particularly his attacking ability, mate.
And on the wings, I think everybody agrees that probably Ferguson and Growth are the best wingers in the world today, with Kerry Bowstead out injured, and the Queensland are going to miss Bowie tonight. His brilliant cover defence, and I think the little fellow that has been on the flank almost every time a State of Origin game has been played will be sorely missed tonight. It's a big step up in class for Dale Shearer from the Manly Club.
Yeah, Dale's a good winger, Peter, but I don't think he's up to the ability of Johnny Ferguson, and Ferguson's just had a stint in England, as you're aware, and played in very similar conditions over there, so we might see Johnny get away from a few of these fellas tonight, because if he gets his head past any of this back line here for Queensland, he'll just clap on the pace and there'll be 4 pointers popping up.
Yeah, well, I tend to think that perhaps the New South Wales have the Rolls-Royce wingers, and maybe tonight a couple of Volkswagens on the flank for Queensland. But if Queensland have a big advantage, it's certainly going to be in the centre tonight, where Mal Meninga and Chris Close, two giants, two fast men, up against a combination that's really untried in Michael O'Connor and Chris Mortimer. I would give a big points victory there to the Queenslanders in Meninga and Close. Agreed?
Yes, I would agree, Peter. Having said that, I think that Chris Mortimer and both Michael O'Connor will have something to prove tonight, and I'm sure that Terry Fernley has made them very well aware of the fact of the size of these two fellas, and if they're going to take them head on, the only place to go is around the legs. Chris Mortimer plays with a lot of aggression, as Michael does, so I would like to think that they can come off this ground with their heads held pretty high.
And what a 5'8" duel, worth the price of admission, and something that's going to be a spectacular contest tonight. Wally Lewis versus Brett Kenny, two of the greatest players in modern day rugby league, and the conditions, I think, tonight tailor-made for Wally Lewis. He's stronger, bigger than Brett Kenny, and Kenny's pace will be nullified a lot in these sort of conditions, Greg.
Yes, I think Wally's kicking game will also prove a big factor too in over Brett, but I'm not going to write Brett Kenny off. He's had a sensational stint in England. He's come back. He was the form player at Wembley some 2 weeks ago. And if I'm in anyone's corner, and you know I've been very vocal of Wally Lewis of late, Peter, particularly last year when everybody said he was the greatest player in the world, particularly the banana benders up here, I think Brett Kenny's going to give him one heck of a shove tonight.
Well, I can't agree with you. I mean, every time we come to Lang Park, Wally's king here. It's his domain, and he usually holds centre court. And I'm certainly not going to suggest tonight that he won't finish on top of Brett Kenny. It's surprising that Kenny in Australia doesn't seem to have the edge over Wally Lewis that he does when he goes away in touring teams. And I think that the conditions tonight are just really ordered for Wally Lewis, the king of Lang Park, and I think that particularly, as you mentioned, his great kicking game, and that's his big advantage tonight. In the halfback spot, we've got Steve Mortimer from New South Wales up against Mark Murray, two teammates on the last Kangaroo Tour, indeed roommates on that tour, two very good friends, but friendship, mate against mate, state against state tonight, and that's certainly the way it's going to be here at Lang Park. And Steve Mortimer in great form, and I think every time he's a captain of a side in a big match, he never fails to turn on a big one. But Mark Murray is a capable customer.
Yes, he is a capable customer, and I think Steve Mortimer's game this afternoon, the Queensland side will certainly try to nullify him because his kicking game is brilliant. And I think Wally and company, particularly the lock Bobby Linder's going to be taking particular notice of Steve Mortimer. But he's the organiser, he's the little general behind the New South Wales pack, and I think if we're looking at points out of 10 for Murray and for Mortimer, Stevie gets probably 9 out of 10 from me, and I'll give Mark 5 for showing up.
No, I think he's better than that, and I most certainly think that he too tonight in these conditions, he's a great little defender, and I can't agree with your rating of him there. I think he's much better than that. In the lock forward positions, we've got Bob Linder and Wayne Pearce and Junior really battling for that test spot, the number 8 jersey that he wants so badly.
Yeah, and I think he'll get it too. Haven't had a chance to see a lot of Bobby Linder. I've seen him on one occasion. He's a fine footballer, but Wayne Pearce is the lock for me, mate.
Okay, in the second rows, Paul McCabe and Paul Vaughton, the manly pair, up against Peter Wynn and Noel Cleal. That should be a heck of a clash. I'm a big rap for Peter Wynn. I think he's an outstanding young player, and these conditions tonight will suit him. He's a good worker, and he's a very courageous player. Really, in a lot of ways, probably shouldn't be playing rugby league after that terrible injury he sustained back in 1981 at Cumberland Oval. As a result of a high tackle, his future looked down and out, but he's hit back and in a grand position now to force his way into the Australian side.
Mate, that'll be a good contest. Wynn, Cleal, McCabe, Vaughton. Vaughton always comes alive here on Lang Park. His defence is magnificent, and if there's one player that they've got to concentrate on tonight, it's certainly Paulie Vaughton.
Okay, and up front, it's the all-test front row of Dave Brown, Greg Canescu and Greg Dowling up against Steve Roach, Ben Elias and Pat Jarvis.
Yes, mate, no contest for mine. 11, 12, 13 with the blue jumpers are going to play all over these two fellows. Dave Brown's form of late hasn't been the best in Sydney, and I believe Canescu's form up here has been ordinary. I don't know about Greg Dowling. There were some raps on him. I know he's an angry customer, but so is Stevie Roach. And if there's any mucking around tonight, I think Steve Roach, Pat Jarvis combined with Benny Elias is going to give it to him.
Well, I don't agree with you up front tonight. In these conditions, I think they're tailor-made for Dave Brown and Greg Dowling, more so than the New South Wales pair. Pat Jarvis, very good footballer, but hasn't got the safest hands in the world. And these conditions tonight are certainly not going to be conducive to safe handling. And I think that's where Jarvis may have a problem. The rain is absolutely pelting down here at Lang Park. They call it the Sunshine State. Of course, the sun, even in Queensland, doesn't shine at night, but it is a dreadful night here at Lang Park. We'll take a break from Lang Park and be back in a few moments.
Stirring, powerful, unforgettable. Morris West's inspirational testament to freedom, The Heretic, is a rare experience in theatre, as Sydney audiences and critics agree.
Great power, beautiful writing.
A theatrical rarity.
I was astonished to be so quickly involved. The acting sustains the evening with power.
The Heretic is full of fine performances.
The Heretic triumphs.
Morris West's triumphant accomplishment, The Heretic, on stage at the Playhouse. Book now at the Sydney Opera House, all Mitchell's Bass agencies, or phone 20588.
Associated Electrics.
For your best price on electrical appliances, call into 50 York Street, Sydney, or phone 20223.
Associated Electrics. Landy from Dexion, and oh, it looks so smart.
Ever walked into one of those offices where the filing system is everywhere except where it should be?
Where's the Smith file?
Oh, it's in the kitchen.
Well, with Plan D from Dexion, storage problems are no problem. All you do is add to it as you go along.
Oh, I didn't know we had computer files.
So look us up in the white pages. Plan D from Dexion, Australia's most advanced office storage system.
And oh, it looks so smart.
People call it paradise, I just call it home. If you could see it with my eyes, you'd want to call it all your own.
Honolulu, where one of the best things under the sun is your beer.
My kind of beer just is made here.
It's Foster's Lager, Australia's famous beer.
Uninterrupted football action on 2GB News Talk 87 with Peter Peters and Greg Hartley.
Welcome back to Lang Park in Brisbane, and referee Kevin Roberts on the field at the moment. And that's why the boos are going up here at Lang Park. The boos going up right around the ground as 5 minutes from kick-off here at Lang Park. The Winfield girls standing on the field with the maroon flags of Queensland and the blue of New South Wales. They are absolutely drenched, and the rain for the last 5 minutes has been particularly heavy here at Lang Park in Brisbane. And Kevin Roberts talking to his touch judges, and there's the roar going up for Wally Lewis and the Queenslanders as they make their entry onto Lang Park. So Lewis leading the Queenslanders out. They look pretty much G'd up. Paulie Vorton, Paul McCabe, and the rest of the Queenslanders come through. Greg Dowling, Mal Meninga, and Mal Meninga looking particularly fit and angry in his match back for the Queensland side. He's been a rip-roaring success over in England, and Greg, hasn't he built up? I mean, how can he get any bigger? He looks like a man mountain, Mal Meninga.
Mate, he's big all right, but he's big in some of the wrong places, though. I'm looking at the back of him now, and he's probably got to be in a pair of 38 shorts. He's going to certainly take a lot of pulling down tonight if he's retained some of that pace, but he looks in terrific form.
Yes, I'm just looking at Chris Close too, Greg. Chris Close, who last Wednesday night was injured in a match at Lismore in the opening few minutes, and he was said to have no hope of playing this game. Chris Close is on the field now and looking as though he's pretty fit. Listen to the Blues now as Stevie Mortimer leads the Blues onto the field, and Steve Mortimer leading the Blues out onto the field, and he looks particularly fit. Wayne Pearce is there with him, and Johnny Ferguson. The rest of the Blues come out, and one player that Queensland dearly would have loved tonight to have in their side is the giant centre three-quarter, Gene Miles. Here he is now with our sideline eye, Matt Hyde.
Well, Gene, what a night for football, reminiscent of Sydney last year.
Yeah, it is very similar. It's good to see the crowds turned out, though.
You're a pretty game man coming along tonight here with that crook leg. You must have the smell of the liniment in your nose. You'd like to be out there.
Yeah, it's hard not to be part of a good side, and hopefully they can bring it off tonight.
Gene, all the people are talking New South Wales are the favourites. Do you think they're entitled to be?
Yeah, I think so. They've picked a pretty good side. It's a very good side on form and a very big side, and we've tried to match that, but, you know, the outcome, well, who knows?
This rain should level it a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure it's going to be played in the forwards now, and these two big packs are going to have a rugged evening, I'm sure.
Just on yourself, how is the knee?
It's good. I hope to be back later on this year, but, you know, it all depends how the physio goes.
There he is, Peter, and I've just seen a fish swim by here. That's how wet it is over here.
Okay, there he is, Matt Hyde in the Maroons dugout, and Matt doing a great job there on the sideline for us tonight here at Lang Park, and he'll be bringing you interviews right throughout the night, our man Matt, right down there where it's all happening pretty close to the action here at Lang Park. He's going to be wet, but he's going to bring you all the action. So sit back now and hopefully enjoy one of the big games of the 1985 season. And thanks very much to our sponsors, Carlton, Brewers of 2.1 LA, Monia Metal Building Products, PubMart and HFC Finance. Wherever we go, anywhere in the world, they're our sponsors, and they bring you rugby league uninterrupted. The players don't stop for ads, for races or Kit Kats or anything else, and we don't either on 2GB News Talk 87. Coming up right now, 80 minutes of...
Clear over the top with Roach. The help he's made out now. It's Dave Brown's turn. He offloads out to Lewis immediately. The international 5'8" from
and
Queensland.
It's on, Greg. Benny Elias has been attacked by a couple of Queenslanders. We said it'd be on, and Greg Canescu went straight for Benny Elias. And the New South Wales players trying to break it up. Paul Vorton trying to break it up, but a couple of the Queenslanders wanting to go on with it, particularly Greg Canescu. And Pat Jarvis is there. So is Steve Roach. We said that Roach and Dave Brown is going on with it, and the touch judges are in, the referee's in, and it's on for young and old at Lang Park. Dave Brown and Steve Roach toe-to-toe here at Lang Park, and Benny Elias was the target. We suggested it, and it's on.
Well, mate, they're having a look at little Benny Elias, and you say little Benny Elias, my God, he got a few in, I can tell you that. There's not a mark on the kid, he's up. He tried to go back at Brown as the touch judge, Johnny Colenso, came across. So he's got plenty of spirit, the little kid. And I'll tell you what he's saying now, Brownie. If that's the best you can dish out, son, you're wasting your bloody time.
Yeah, well, big Steve Roach, he was in there toe-to-toe with Dave Brown. And it's on. 1 minute, less than a minute of the State of Origin. And it's really been on from the start. Interesting to see. I would think it'd be a penalty to New South Wales. And that's the way that Roberts has seen it. And no doubt about that one. Dave Brown started it. And the referee, acting on the touch judge, has given a penalty to New South Wales. Michael O'Connor coming up inside the quarter, and a great chance for the Blues to put first points on the board in the opening State of Origin match at Lang Park. Electrifying atmosphere, and the crowd loved every minute of that, Greg.
And they sure did. Now we've got Michael O'Connor inside the Queensland quarter line, and there's the obvious call goes up. I can't repeat it on radio, but the Queensland contingent are at it again with that so-called outcry that they have, in force I might add, but Michael O'Connor now having the ball placed around the corner-style kick, 20 metres out, 20 in from touch on the broadcasting side of Lang Park. As the boos go up, Connor comes in, he gets her up and away, and he's got the 2 points!
New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0 at Lang Park after 2 minutes of play. A good goal to Michael O'Connor, and that's going to send his confidence sky high, Greg. Never looked off target, radar-like kick from the St George Centre. The Blues lead by 2 points to 0 at Lang Park with a penalty goal in the opening minutes to Michael O'Connor.
Back with Meninga now, game underway once again with a kick. Bouncing 15 metres out from the Blues goal line, picked up by Eric Growth, and he'll come into the arms of Chris Close to be pulled down now. He plays it back to Peter Wynn, running wide across in front of the goalpost. Again pulled down on a good tackle by Canescu. Brown over the top. It's Elias at dummy half. Holds up a pass for Roach, gives it on to Jarvis, and Jarvis now 30 metres out from his own goal line. Brown struggling to get away from him. Again, played back to Wynn. He takes off and pulled down now some 40 metres out centre field. Lewis is sending his wingers back. The possible kick now. Elias gives it across to Gary Jack, but he didn't need it. We've got Kevin Roberts saying we have a penalty to the Blues, 40 metres out centre field here at Lang Park this night.
Yes, and 2 markers there, Greg. Bob Linder, the man penalised there for being the second marker, standing adjacent to the man that was in the marking position. Referee Kevin Roberts quick to pounce, and Queensland giving away penalties early in this State of Origin game, much to the disgust, I might add, of this crowd, which has built up to around, I would think, about 25 to 26,000 in dreadful conditions here at Lang Park. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0 after 3 minutes at Lang Park.
Elias with the free kick gives it back to Roach. Oh, and he's tried out by Brown and Cuffy. Pulled down Canescu also involved. Now it's back to Ben Elias. A goal. He dummies to Win. Picks up Wayne Pearce going across, but he's put down by Borton. Offloads to Steve Mortimer. He gives it out to Brett Kenny. Goes across into the arms of O'Connor. He turns it back inside to Mortimer. The ball has been put down by the Blues. Borton diving on it for the Queensland side. He'll get up to play it now. Some 36 metres out from his own line. Straight back into the arms of Rebo. Rebo pulled down. And now a penalty against New South Wales. Affecting the tackle over the top was Chris Mortimer. And Roberts moves in to give him that penalty 40 metres out. 10 in from touch. From their own goal line.
Good tackle by Benny Elias on John Rebo, but the referee quick to pounce there. Rebo not allowed to play the ball quickly, so the tension is sky high here at Lang Park, as we knew it would be.
Canescu with the tap. He gives it straight back to Brown again, going forward for a 10-metre gain. 38 out now from the New South Wales line. It's Thornton's turn to take the ball up, and a strong, solid run. A good tackle over the top too by Peter Wynn and Paddy Jarvis. It's back with Canescu. He picks up the big prop now going through Greg Dowling. He's pulled down centre field. 30 out from the line. It's with Canescu. Goes across to Murray now. He has a little step. Oh, he tries to duck under the tackle of Jarvis, but he's managed to hangs on to him now to pull him down with Roach over the top. Canescu once again. He gives it back now to Linda. He charges forward. A shade inside the New South Wales quarter line with one tackle left to go. Canescu back to Lewis. Gets his kick in. It's a high kick. It's going to go over the dead ball line. On the full as Gary Jack went in to cover that ball. So we're back to the quarter line.
And Wally Lewis hit in back play, but it was simultaneous to the time he kicked the ball. He played doggo, and not a Queensland referee tonight, because no penalty for Wally's. A little bit of acting there here at Lang Park. 2-0 to the Blues after 5 minutes.
Now the ball has gone back to Steve Mortimer from Ben Elias behind the ruck, and a kick down into the arms of Cole Scott. Oh, he's coughed the pill up. It's gone astray, and it'll go over the touchline. Rebo dropped his shoulder into Chris Mortimer as it went across the touchline. Roberts there now to order this scrum. 1 metre on the Queensland side of the halfway line.
Well, this is going to be interesting, Greg. This is the first scrum of the game. They're standing back like a couple of rampaging bulls, and in they go. And the heads are locked in there. Canescu versus Benny Elias. Elias has won the scrum, but referee Roberts wants it in again.
He's bringing them in, Pete, the mandatory 10 metres from the touchline.
No love lost in the front row department here tonight. Never is, never will be. Don't give any quarter and don't expect any.
To be worked by Mortimer now. And looking on the far side, I think Murray has come up with the ball, but as you said, it may be on. Now we've got Queensland going further ahead, but none of the New South Welshmen retired the 5 metres. Roberts is in the thick of it again as a penalty's been awarded to Queensland.
It's Noel Cleal and John Rebo, former teammates at Manly, but warring factions tonight here at Lang Park. Tempers overflowing early as the adrenaline starts pumping here at Lang Park. New South Wales and Queensland. And now it's the New South Wales second row forward, Peter Wynn, being spoken to, along with John Rebo for Queensland. Roberts has given the penalty to Queensland. The penalties are 2-2, no clean scrums yet, and Queensland now in a good position to attack, and they'll mount some pressure on New South Wales, 25 metres out from the Blues line.
Free kick to be taken by Canescu, goes to Murray, given out to Dowling, turns to Borton, gives it back to McCabe. McCabe, a long pass over to Rebo, pushes one away, starts his run again, slips down in the slippery conditions under the tackle of Stephen Roach. Now it's back with Canescu, up over the quarter line, a strong burst, 10 metres or so gained, clear over the top to pull him down. It's played back to Rebo to Murray, holds it up for Dowling coming through, and a charge now only 10 metres out. The New South Wales sending their defence across in one line as he gets up the play. It goes back to Canescu, to Murray, switches play to Lewis. Nearly through one as he allowed to stand and offload back to Murray, but again knocked to the turf some 11 metres away from the New South Wales line. Queensland on the attack. Canescu after Lewis to Borton, holds one up for the big fella. Mal Meninga gets a pass away to Close. Down on one knee, gets up, they go again with one tackle left to go. 2 metres out from the line, plays it back to Shearer, goes to Lewis, puts a high kick up again. Waiting for it to come down. Oh, and we've got John Rebo trying to pick it up. The ball has been knocked on, says the referee, some 5 metres out from the New South Wales line where this scrum will go down.
Yes, and Peter Wynn collided with Paul McCabe. McCabe chasing the kick and is put down by Peter Wynn. It could easily have been a penalty to Queensland in back play, but the touch judges have stayed out the Bengal Lancers. Scrum win to New South Wales.
Stevie Mortimer in possession now, 10 metres out from his own line. He plays it straight back to Wayne Pearce down the blind side. 6 metres or so gained, knocked to the ground on the far side by Rebo. Plays it back to Johnny Ferguson. First touch for Fergo tonight. Charging forward. If he can get his head in front of those maroon jumpers, they won't pin him back as he's knocked down.
Rebo's just given him one, Greg, a little punch going in on Ferguson. John Rebo, he's been sprung by Detective Kevin Roberts, and a penalty will go to New South Wales. Little right jab there from Rebo. He wants to let Ferguson know that he's going to follow him all over the park here tonight at Lang Park.
That's exactly what he's going to have to do, because if Fergo gets going, he'll be following him.
He's pretty hard to grab when he goes on those roving runs of his. There's the touch finder for New South Wales, finding touch 30 metres out from their own line. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0 after 9 minutes.
Elias with the tap now, back to Pat Jarvis, charges forward, but well and truly put to ground in a good tackle by the defence of the big second rower from Queensland, Paul McCabe. Now New South Wales, Wayne Pearce in possession, getting up the flat, back to Elias. It goes across to Steve Mortimer. He gets a kick in downfield, and he's turned Dale Shearer around, but Shearer will manage to get to the ball. He slides in, but then Eric Grove slides in on top of him. He plays the ball back to Colin Scott, takes off once again, taken care of by Rebo, and Michael O'Connor gets up the flat, goes back to Shearer, good pass across to Borton. He's the danger man, but he's taken well and truly underneath by Elias and Stephen Roach over the top, but now he's calling Roach out on Borton, and he's saying a high tackle below the Texan before you start throwing those ones.
Yeah, well, a penalty to Queensland. High tackle, said referee Kevin Roberts, indicated the swinging arm, and Stephen Roach there moving in on Paul Borton. Fatty just smiles at him and says, if that's the best you can do, well, keep throwing them. Tap penalty now to Queensland, taken by Conescu.
Straight out to Lewis, good pass, picks up Murray, but Murray's well and truly put down by Brett Kenny. He'll play it back to Dowling. He'll look for a ball carrier. Now he'll go on his own, and again wrapped up by little Penny Elias. And what a good start for this youngster this afternoon as Conescu now had a look for a ball carrier, none available. Now we've got Big Mal Meninga in for a run to take some of the pressure off his forwards, but he elects to offload to Murray. Murray running wide, looks back, can't offload it as again he's put to the ground by Roach. He'll play the ball 30 metres out from the New South Wales line. Once again to Conescu, tries to step away from the defence of Mortimer. He's pulled down, they've got one tackle left to go. They're 28 metres out from the New South Wales line as Vorton gets it across to Lewis, again putting up a high kick from an onside position. The Queenslanders come through, but John Ferguson for New South Wales now in possession, some 28 metres out from the New South Wales line.
Well, New South Wales putting a lot of pressure on Wally Lewis. That was a bad kick by Lewis, simply because Steve Mortimer and also Wayne Pearce were moving up on him. Here's Steve Roach taking the ball up, and like bees around the honey pot, they're all in over Big Roachy.
Now we've got Benny Elias at dummy half, out to Mortimer, kicks downfield. Colin Scott stands, takes it on the first bounce. Coming downfield, not a lot of speed in that run, but then again he's knocked down now some 40 metres out from his own line as it goes back to Conescu, after John Rebo in again, and Wayne Pearce over the top and a smother tackle along with Paddy Jarvis around the legs. Conescu at dummy half, once again out to Dowling, and Dowling's knocked down now a shade over the halfway line in the Blues territory. It's Conescu giving it back to Lewis. He tactically kicks downfield, beautifully taken by Growth, but then puts the ball down, goes back now, gains possession up over the quarter line, all taken on by Shearer, head on, and it was a good put down by Dale Shearer. Now it's played back to Gary Jack, away from the touchline. He slides straight under the tackle of Dowling. He'll get up the play to Elias. Elias calls on the expertise of Peter Wynn now, through for a 10-metre gain. Conescu around the legs, Murray over the top. It's with young Benny Elias again, given back to Chris Mortimer, who elects to kick across field, forcing Colin Scott to go right back into his own quarter. And neither John Rebo or Scott wanted that one, but Rebo was first to the ball, and he is knocked down inside his own quarter line.
Well, the tactics of both sides pretty evident. They want to play the opposition inside the other quarter. That's good tactics in the wet. New South Wales kicking through the Mortimer brothers, Chris and also Steve, and Queensland relying on Lewis, and Lewis drives it downfield. Neither of the sides want to play in their own territory. Gary Jack has the ball for New South Wales. He's up over the halfway mark. We've had 13 minutes of play in State of Origin, and Gary Jack swapped by 3 Queenslanders.
He gets up now to play it back to Noel Clearly, tries to dig the Spriggs in and go forward, but again he runs into Dowling and Big Mal Meninga. Conescu also over the top, pushes him away to play the ball back to Elias, given on to Roach. He charges forward, and a good tackle by Dowling right around the bootlaces brings him down 30 metres out from the Queensland line. Elias goes across to Steve Mortimer to Brett Kenny. He gives a good pass out now to Chris Mortimer. He was going to turn the ball back inside as Kenny followed him across, but he couldn't offload it. Now Johnny Ferguson at dummy half, tries to go on his own down the blind, but the defence too solid on that side of the ground as Bobby Linder knocks him down. It's with Elias, back to Steve Mortimer, and there's the high kick, and it's a good looking kick also. Colin Scott goes up to take it again, putting it down, and a Queenslander dive dives on it. I thought from an offside position, but nevertheless, the referee says a scrum to go down.
I don't think there's any doubt, Greg, that he was in an offside position. The ball was knocked forward by Colin Scott, dived on by a Queenslander who was standing adjacent to Scott. Scott, a little bit dodgy under the pressure of the high kicks, and who wouldn't be on a night like this at Lang Park? We've had 14 minutes of play gone. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0 at Lang Park.
Now Steve Mortimer coming up to work this scrum, but referee Roberts not happy with it. Mortimer coming to pick it up again. Up to the tunnel, Steve Mortimer now picks it up. A New South Wales scrum win back to Wayne Pearce, can't hang on to it. Picked up by Johnny Ferguson. He's got some toe. He's away from one, steps in the Wayne, steps under another, still going. And he's only 5 metres out now from the Queensland line. That was a good run. He plays it back to Elias down the blind side. Mortimer across to Peter Wynn. Offloads now to Cleel, but Cleel again is knocked to the turf. And the big fella goes over the top. Paul McCabe on his teammate from Sydney. Now it's back with Peter Wynn. Charges forward, steps again, still 5 metres away. Tackle 4, I think it is, as it's played forward. Oh, and I think they've lost possession now. The referee going back to the New South Wales 5 metres. Queensland are in possession, 2 metres out from their own line.
Silly play by New South Wales. They had Queensland in a position where they could stretch the ball well to the left with a good back line standing out there and a good overlap, but they elected to play the ball forward and go through the position where Queensland were strongest, right up the centre of the rucks.
Now the ball's been played back to Canescu, given now into the arms of Murray, and he is knocked to the, Rebo, he's knocked to the ground. He gets up the plaid. It goes back across now to Murray, out to Wally Lewis, chops out one, gives it to Close. Close gives it to Meninga. He goes without the pill. Dale Shearer's there to pick the ball up, but it has been knocked on, says referee Roberts, and 3 New South Welshmen bundle him over the touchline.
Yeah, well, it was certainly a good pass by Wally Lewis to give an overlap to Chris Close and then to Mal Meninga, but Meninga spilt the ball. A good pass too, and this has piled the pressure on Queensland. The scrum feed to New South Wales and the loose head to the Blues. The scrums in the game are 2-0 to New South Wales, and the penalties are 3-all. Make it 3-0 now, the scrum.
Eric Groth now for the corner, but just pulled down 5 out from it after the New South Wales scrum win. Now Gary Jack from the dummy half rule. Oh, he slides, pulled down once again by McCabe. Elias at dummy half, good pass, picks up Mortimer, gives it to Kenny, was on the run around, but Kenny could not play the pass. He does now to Mortimer. Mortimer cuts 1 or 2 out, it goes across to Ferguson, pins his ears back, he's got a man on the outside, it's Michael O'Connor, he stops, he turns it back once again to Chris Mortimer. Oh, but a great tackle by Close, knocks him to the ground. Now it's played back to O'Connor. He tries to get mobile down the blind side. Pushed over the touchline, much to the crowd's delight.
Well, big Chris Close throwing his weight around there like a big bully.
And
out in the centre of Lang Park. Devastating stuff by the man they call Choppy, and he's just hurled Michael O'Connor over the sideline like he was a sack of wheat. He just threw him all over the place.
Scrum to go down now. This time the Queenslander Mark Murray to work this one for the Banana Benders. It goes in, won by Queensland. Murray in possession, tries to make the break. The cover quickly to knock him down. Brett Kenny, the man. He plays it straight back into the arms of Linda, across to Vorton. Vorton tries to offload back to Rebo. He does. Rebo takes off, pushes one away. Dummies, has a look on the outside. No more ball carriers as the scrum now finally breaks up and the Queenslanders getting into a position to attack. Now Dowling's turn to go forward, and he's slammed to the ground by Jarvis. He'll play the ball centre field, 30 metres out from his own goal line. Back to Canescu, gives it on to Lewis. Lewis turns it back inside to McCabe. He takes off and he's got to hang on to this slippery football. He's knocked down on a good tackle by Jarvis. Plays it back to Canescu, a good pass across to Lewis. This time plenty of time to get his kick down field. Gary Jack coming across to field. Also Eric Groth taking possession. He slips over the crowd. Give out a big roar when the big man goes down. Gets up now and takes the ball down some 11 metres or so to be 30 out centre field from the Blues goal line.
Greg, it's very hard for the players to get their feet. Guru went back for that one and just lost his ground. And the ground very wet here after the heavy rain at Lang Park. We've had 18 minutes of play in the State of Origin. New South Wales 2, lead Queensland 0. And the game's settling down now. And in comes one of the Bengal Lancers again to report to referee Kevin Roberts. Let's see who he hauls out here on this occasion. I noticed Pat Jarvis getting right in the thick of the action with Greg Canescu a few moments ago, and they're being called out now along with
Dowling.
With Dowling, Greg Dowling as well, and Pat Jarvis getting through a lot of tackling. Greg, he's tackling everything that moves out there. Pat Jarvis for the New South Wales side. The scrums 3-1 to New South Wales. The penalties are 3-all. Scrum to go down. Queensland feed and head.
30 metres out again. Murray. For Queensland to work it. 1-2 by Queensland. Murray to Lewis. Murray on the wrap. Tries to step away from the defence of Kenny, but Kenny was first man to knock him down with Chris Mortimer over the top. Now he plays it back to Lewis. He looks for a ball carrier. Linda was through, but he's knocked the ball on once again. No advantage to the Blues on this occasion. A further scrum to go down now centre field. 42 out from the New South Wales goal line.
Well, a few of the players out there, and the tackling has been absolutely ferocious. A couple of the players having a little look-see, and Bob Linder on that occasion was doing just that, looking at the defence and not at the football. He spilled it, and a scrum to go down now, 5 metres from the halfway mark in Blues territory. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0 on the National Panasonic scoreboard. 20 minutes gone in the first half.
Blues scrum win, straight out to Kenny from Mortimer. Gets his kick in downfield, touched in flight, I might add. All on, says the referee there. Rebo's back there and beautifully covers the football. 10 out from his own line. But he had Michael O'Connor offside. Well, I would swear Blind was struck Max that ball was touched after it was kicked.
Well, Greg O'Connor was sort of running in very hesitantly towards the football, and he just really didn't know what referee Roberts was doing. Roberts should have given a signal on that occasion.
Called out to him.
It should have said, if you go in on the play, you're offside. So, you know, that's what he should have done on that occasion. Bad refereeing, I think, by Roberts. Sideline eye, Matt Hyde has some news on Greg Dowling.
Yes, Peter, Des Morris, the Queensland coach, came just down a minute ago to talk to the runner on the sideline here. Greg Dowling has got a sore left shoulder. He keeps moving it around, and I don't know whether he'll be replaced, but he doesn't look too good.
Matt, the tackling absolutely ferocious early in the game.
It's the best I've ever seen, Peter. It is just devastating. You think there's brick walls out there.
Okay, so not many gaps there so far in the game. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0 at Lang Park. 20 minutes gone in the first half.
Wally Lewis, 40 metres out from his own line, gets a kick downfield from general play, finds touch now. The ball beating Eric Growth on the first bounce, 30 metres out from the New South Wales line, where a scrum will go down, giving Queensland a good opportunity now if they can win this scrum.
And listen to the cry go up, Wally, and looking down at a lot of the crowd, Greg, they're giving him Wally, they're going here at Lang Park. Well, let's see what Lewis can do today. Scrum win by the Queensland side against the feed for Canescu.
Now Murray put down, plays the ball back to Linder, it goes across to Lewis. Oh, and a swinging arm by Peter when it's play on, says the referee.
Lewis lost the ball too.
Yes, he spilt the ball. He's going to have another look next time. Pat Jarvis now. He's put the pill down, picked up. Once there, McCabe's put the ball down, gone backwards this time into the arms of Borton.
Well, the handling not good, but excuses can be made because of the ferocious tackling and the weather conditions here at Lang Park. Certainly not conducive to open football. It's a real slog. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0.
Murray now in possession inside the New South Wales quarter line. Clear was over the top. Pearce around the legs. Canescu from the back of the ruck has a look, tries to go one way, turns around, a complete 360, but again well and truly handled by Pearce. He'll play it back to Lewis. There's got to be something on. Dowling turns it back to McCabe. Tries to run wide. Oh, he had a player flying through. That was Scott, but he's gone without the pill. They've got one tackle left to go inside the quarter as Borton serves one up for Lewis. Gets his kick in again. But I think this one's going to sail over the touchline on the full.
Oh, and the touch judges come in. Steve Mortimer tackling Wally Lewis over the top. Touch judges in. And, that looked a little bit high to me, Greg. And the touch judges in. And Steve Mortimer lifted Wally Lewis up. I think Lewis was play acting as he is prone to do. Let's see if it's a penalty to Queensland. Touch judge in, and it's a Queensland touch judge too. And no doubt he came in faster than Farlap got out of the barrier when it won the Melbourne Cup. He certainly charged in the Bengal Lancer. They're one of a kind, doesn't matter where they're from, New South Wales or Queensland. They love to get in on the action. They know there's a big audience watching tonight and listening, and he probably told his mum that he'd be in 22 minutes into the first half, and in he came. Steve Mortimer, the penalty against him, and this gives Queensland their opening chance of the game. The score 2-0 in favour of New South Wales over Queensland.
Meninga right on the New South Wales quarter line, 5 metres in from touch. Very difficult angle for Mal Meninga to put this one over, but he's a fine kicker, there's no doubt about that.
Sideline eye, Matt Hyde. How did you see that tackle, Matt?
Pete, I didn't see too much in it, but it was interesting when they introduced Steve Mortimer onto the field tonight. They introduced him as the Darcy Dugan of New South Wales, so you can read that into what you like.
Yeah, I think that's disgraceful. I think that is absolutely disgraceful.
So is the Peebo.
Yeah, Darcy Dugan. Fancy comparing Steve Mortimer with that, in quotes, gentleman.
Okay, Meninga now coming in. 5 out, 22 from the line. Got it. Waved away, gone dead, back to the quarter line. The Maroons stay on the big 0.
2 points to nil in favour of New South Wales over Queensland here at Lang Park. 23 minutes gone in a tight struggle here at the headquarters of Queensland Rugby League, Lang Park. There's the dropout by Gary Jack. Queensland take the ball up now, and it's through their lock forward, Bob Lindner.
Oh, and he's hitting a very good tackle over the top by Peter Wynn. Bit of claret coming out of Wynn's melon now as Close tries to go forward with Wynn once again around the bootlaces. He's making every post a winner in this game tonight. Peter Wynn as Murray gives it away once again to McCabe. Charges downfield, tries to get it away to Lewis. It's gone astray. Players diving on it in all directions, but the referee has indicated the knock-on has occurred, so we're going to have a scrum 25 metres in from touch on the far side of the ground, 30 metres out from the New South Wales goal line.
Well, big Chris Close certainly proving that he's certainly fit tonight, having a good game so far, and probably the form centre on the field in the opening 24 minutes of play. New South Wales 2 lead Queensland 0, and the Blues have won a scrum.
And Johnny Ferguson, the man in possession, still 30 metres out from his own line. He'll get up to play the ball very slowly, I might add. Goes back to Big Cleel, then he gives it on to Wayne Pearce, coming away from the touchline. He looks a little bit crook too, John Ferguson, as Pearce now gets up to play it. Back to Elias, good pass across to Roach. 2 or 3 of the Queenslanders to pull him down. Over the top was Vorton, good smother tackle. It's back with Elias across to Gary Jack. Has plenty of time to get this torpedo kick downfield across into the arms of Johnny Rebo. Take a bow, great take just outside his own quarter line. And he comes down to be greeted by Noel Cleal and Chris Mortimer for New South Wales, 31 metres out from his own line. Again, playing it straight back into the arms of McCabe, trying to get away from the back of the ruck. Well and truly wrapped up by Wayne Pearce. It's Canescu across to Murray. Long pass picks up Lewis. It wasn't a good one. Now after Borton. Cuts out close to Meninga. Lying downfield. Steps away from one, but Eric Growth up around the melon to pull him down. Good tackle. 8 metres on the New South Wales side of the halfway line. Shearer out to Lewis. Gives it across to Linda. Linda tries to offload, but once again Roach pulls him down in company with Wynn. He plays it to Canescu to Lewis. Good pass on to Dowling. Dowling steps through one, steps through a second, passes around the corner to Borton. Borton takes a ball, and he had Big Meninga going in the opposite direction, but he's put the ball down. Now it's with Eric Growth after being picked up. And a good scoop by Ben Elias. Now he's pulled down Eric Growth 30 metres out from the New South Wales goal line.
Well, the tackling's ferocious, Greg. Queenslanders just hurling their bodies into the Blues, and New South Wales doing likewise. Play pretty good at this stage of the game. Queensland using their back line a little bit better than New South Wales. Brett Kenny has thrown a wild pass, and Queensland have intercepted. They're now in possession just outside the New South Wales quarter. Good chance for Queensland now.
Bobby Linda, the man taking the leather down, but he's given a penalty against the New South Wales side, particularly Paddy Jarvis, the man he's pointing to. As Linda took the ball down, he had him inside the 5 metres, and you couldn't get a better position, Bilko, no doubt about that. Smack dab in front on the quarter line.
Well, the penalties are now 5-3 in favour of Queensland in this game. The scrums 4-3 to New South Wales. Now Mal Meninga with a golden opportunity to square things up here at Lang Park. Roberts talking to the New South Wales players, telling them to get back their 5 metres, and this game really hotting up here at Lang Park. Greg, I get the impression that Queensland's back line is functioning a little bit better than New South Wales. They seem to be getting that overlap. New South Wales not having that overlap, and that was a ridiculous pass by Brett Kenny, putting his centres under a lot of pressure, and no need for a wild pass like that in front of his posts and on a night like this.
Yeah, well, they're getting more traction. I thought it may have worked in the reverse, but again, I'm wrong. Nothing unusual for me.
It's certainly not.
The bigger fellows are getting the traction. They've got the longer sprigs on. I refer to Close and Meninga, but nevertheless, our fellows will do us proud. Just inside the quarter line, right in front, Meninga comes in. Begmal's got the flags up, no doubt about that one. 2-2 here on the National Panasonic scoreboard.
Yeah, 2-2 at Lang Park, 27 minutes gone in the first half. New South Wales and Queensland locking horns here again for the 12th time in State of Origin. It's 2-2 between the Blues and the Maroons.
Back to the halfway once again with Michael O'Connor placing the ball to get this game underway. And Big Close going back to within 5 metres of his own goal line as the ball goes across to the left-hand side here at Lang Park. Off the chest of Colin Scott, picks it up, comes down to the quarter line before being knocked down in a good tackle. Roach was over the top. Teammate from Balmain, Wayne Pearce, and his captain also involved. This Canescu serves a beautiful pass up for Paul Borton coming through on the burst, and again knocked down by Ben Elias and Peter Wynn. Canescu serves up another good one for Brown going through, and Brown is his legs are cut from under him by Wayne Pearce. He plays it back to McCabe. McCabe running across field and down into the mush and slush he goes as Mortimer by one arm drags him down. It's Canescu, serves one up for Colin Scott. He threw one, he's put the pill down, but it's going to be made dead by Bobby Linder, who was in support, so we'll have a further scrum now, 5 metres on the Queensland side of the halfway with the touch judge in once again.
Yeah, they're becoming a little bit boring now, the touch judges. A little bit Tate in back play between Greg Canescu and Peter Wynn. Nothing in it, Greg, and for the life of me, I can't understand why touch judges keep charging onto the field when a scrum's going to be put down. Nothing's happening except the people are being bored to death with a touch judge coming in. The scrum's going to be put down and nothing occurred there on that occasion. Stay out, mate.
Now a scrum to go down. My big mate very vocal about these touchies. Won by New South Wales. Steve Mortimer to Brett Kenny. Have a run, Brett. Michael O'Connor tries to pick up the ball. It was an ordinary pass. It was right around his legs. The knock-on has occurred. No advantage to Queensland. Wally Lewis up very quickly to take advantage, but the referee says no. A further scrum to go down now, 6 metres this time on the New South Wales side of the halfway line.
Well, Brett Kenny's a better player than that. He's having an absolutely woeful game here tonight at Lang Park. Some of his passing is Z-grade stuff. The conditions very reminiscent of what he would have experienced in England. And Brett Kenny not handling the conditions very well. And he's serving up a few hospital passes, Greg, for his outside supports. That's the last 2 passes that he's passed in the game have been pretty ordinary.
Yep.
Scrum to go down again, says referee Roberts.
And we've got Murray coming up to work it once again.
That's got to be a penalty to New South Wales.
Yeah, it was off the leg of the Queenslander. There's the kick now by Kevin Roberts. Straight off the leg. We had a very good view. I was looking straight down the tunnel of that particular penalty as the ball went in straight off Canescu's legs. Penalty to New South Wales. 6 metres on their own side of the halfway line. And I think they'll kick towards the broadcasting position here at Lang Park. Chris Mortimer going over, and as we said earlier, 2-all Queensland and New South Wales on the National Panasonic scoreboard as the kick for touch finds it some 8 metres on the Queensland side of the halfway line now. Tap to be taken by Paddy Jarvis. The mark indicated by referee Roberts as he goes forward, and he's taken by McCabe. Brown over the top. Ben Elias quickly into the dummy half position, shows it to Roach, gives it to Cleel coming down the blind side. Oh, and they rin over the top of him. There's 4 of the Queenslanders there. Good solid defence from the Banana Benders up here at Lang Park. Played back to Steve Mortimer. Good pass once again to Wayne Pearce. Charges into Vorton. The pass goes back. Kenny misses it on the first occasion. Tries to pick it up. Gets away from Dowling coming through, but he's wrapped up by Murray and Vorton. Playing it now 40 metres out from the Queensland line. Back to Elias. Switches it across to Stephen Roach, is going nowhere as he's knocked down by Dowling. He'll play it back to Steve Mortimer now. He had Wynn on the outside calling for the ball, but that was a lousy pass. Johnny Ferguson has picked this one up. Tries to get away from Murray, successful 2, sees the break 2, 3, still going, but eventually goes down with 1 tackle left to go. Played 30 metres out from the line, given back to Steve Mortimer, gets a kick in downfield, and it has found the touchline inside the Queensland quarter line.
Yes, and it came off a Queensland player. It'll be an important scrum feed for New South Wales, and the loose head for little Benny Elias. Brilliant bit of football by John Ferguson. He's magic. Every time he touches the ball, he's making good ground, and New South Wales would be well advised to give him some good, clean ball here tonight. It's 2-all New South Wales and Queensland. 8 minutes out from half-time. Vital scrum win to the Blues.
And we've got Steve Mortimer in possession of the football. 15 metres out from the Queensland line. Peter Wynn, back to Pat Jarvis, tucks the leather under the right arm and goes forward. He's now 12 out from the Maroons line. Elias down the blind side to Cleo, slips the big fella, gets up to try to go again. The referee says play the ball as Canescu's over the top of him like an octopus. Now it's back with Elias. The little fella's dangerous here, but they've got a penalty this time. It's against Dowling, saying 5 metres. And Robert stood his ground. I thought he may have ran the required distance, Ben Elias, but nevertheless, we've got a penalty to New South Wales.
Greg, I think the referee would have been well advised there to play the advantage. Ben Elias is only a metre out from the line with 3 tackles to go.
You got it.
I think that that's pretty poor refereeing, premature whistle blowing by referee Kevin Roberts, not playing the advantage, and New South Wales probably robbed of their best scoring opportunity in the game. Although the kick is a fairly easy one for Michael O'Connor, and in these conditions tonight, every point worth gold here at Lang Park. Good crowd in attendance, and 33 minutes gone in the first half. 2-0, 2 points all it is at present. Can Michael O'Connor put New South Wales back in front?
Maybe, Peter, that was exactly what he was considering when he gave the penalty. The difficulties here that prevail He thought that the penalty was warranted because of the 2 points. I think you said it all, mate. Placing so much emphasis on the 2 points. If in fact he can get them now, he's standing, the boos go up.
He won't miss this one, Greg.
Coming in, short running, got it high, got the 2 points. You beauty, says the Blues.
2 goals from 2 attempts to Michael O'Connor from St George, and New South Wales go back to the lead after 33 minutes of play. It's New South Wales 4, lead Queensland 2 at Lang Park. Quick kick-off for Queensland, taken by Benny Elias.
Comes down 10 metres or so to be 35 out from his own line. Hurt himself, Benny, in the tackle. Once again, the man over the top was Brown. And he's going to try and get up to play it. But John Ferguson says, stay down, mate. Let the ambulance man have a look at you. None better, too, than Alfie Richards. He's been around the Australian sides, New South Wales sides, country sides and suburban sides for many a year, Peter. There's no better man.
Certainly not. And Greg, while there's a break in play, I'd like to take this opportunity to say that great to be back in Queensland and staying at Brisbane's premier hotel. We always stay there, the Park Royal. And anyone from Sydney travelling north, you can't get a better hotel than the Park Royal. And we're privileged to have a couple of the guys from the Park Royal Hotel here in Brisbane in the box with us here tonight. Play about to start again with Benny Elias playing the ball now 40 metres out from the New South Wales goal line.
Back to Pat Jarvis, takes off 2 metres or so gained. Slumped to the ground by McCabe over the top. Played back to Elias, shows it to Close, or to Cleal, I should say, gives it back into the arms of Stephen Tarochi, and he's slammed to the ground by Vorton and Dowling. Has a look too, some blood coming out of his nose. Played back to Elias, given on to Steve Mortimer, who again gets a kick down field. Scott allowing it to bounce. On one occasion, he'll come up to the quarter line. He's lost possession. New South Wales now on the Queensland quarter line, having the football. Peter Wynn was the man to dive on it. Now it's played to Jarvis, goes across to Steve Mortimer. Boy, if it was a dry ground, they'd have problems containing this halfback from New South Wales, but he's pulled down. He plays it to Elias, gives it out to Roach. Roach charges forward, tries to flick it out the back to Peter Wynn, who gains possession, still 12 metres out from the line. Elias shows it to Big Noel Cleal, Crusher, the nickname, up to the 10-metre line. A good tackle by Dowling around the legs, pulls him down. Play back to Elias, goes across to Steve Mortimer, out to Kenny. Kenny holds it up for Jack from the fullback position. Passes back to Wayne Pearce, he picks it up. He offloads once again. Dreadful passing back to Kenny, around one, takes off, has a look on the outside, still going, and he's over if he can get it down, though he's just short of the line. One tackle left to go, just short of the line, the referee says.
He can see the line, he can smell it, but he can't get over Brett Kenny. Brilliant burst.
Benny Elias, long pass. Steve Mortimer, little chip over the top, coming through with the Blues, bounces favourably for who? Oh, Vorton's knocked the ball on, and we couldn't get a try.
Well, gee, Greg, the ball was there, the try was there for the taking. New South Wales piling on the pressure. What a brilliant run by Brett Kenny, and Steve Mortimer is urging his side on now. Chris Mortimer getting a talking to. He was pushed out of the way. Come on, Roberts, get on with the action. You're boring everybody. Here we go now. Queensland with a line dropout. We've got 4 minutes left for play here in the first half at Lang Park. New South Wales 4, putting on the pressure against Queensland 2. There's a good line dropout, taken beautifully by Gary Jack.
Coming down over the 40-metre line, the 30-metre line. Now he's 28 out. Centre field from the Queensland goal line on tackle one with Elias at dummy half, shows it. Oh, Ganescu gave him one for his trouble, but he stands to offload, picks up Kenny. Good pass out to Michael O'Connor. He comes down, tries to fend off Close, but Close too big and too strong, pulls him to the turf. 28 metres out from the line to Growth at dummy half to Peter Wynn. Around the corner, Growth once again in a wraparound until he runs in to a lot of trouble in Dowling and Brown. Two big men for Queensland. Played back to Elias, given back to Peter Wynn. He only knows one way to go, this fella, straight down the guts, and that's just what he does. Over the quarter line, again pulled down by Brown and Murray to Elias. It goes across to Kenny. Kenny, a good pass on to Wayne Pearce. He's going to be pulled down, or is he? Offloads once again to Paddy Jarvis. Jarvis goes down the blind side, has a look, just couldn't offload his ball. It's been flicked out as he went to the ground. The referee says a scrum will go down. Well, to me, that was a penalty because he was on the deck when it was reefed out.
Well, it's got to be one way or the other, Greg. It's got to be Queensland's ball or a penalty to New South Wales.
That's right.
Kevin Roberts betting each way on that occasion, taking the easy way out and now calling time off. Roberts not having the best of games, but the pressure is enormous on a night like this in Brisbane with such a crowd, wet conditions, a lot of close close contact, and I suppose I may be being a little bit too critical of him. The scrums in the game are 6-3 in favour of New South Wales. The penalties are 5-all. New South Wales 4 lead Queensland 2. There's 2 minutes and 32 seconds left on the National Panasonic scoreboard. New South Wales having a big territorial advantage late in the first half.
Now the scrum's fed by Murray for Queensland. Referee not happy with it. Walking off the mark once again. Murray up for the second attempt, and the referee's given New South Wales a penalty. Set second row feed. Very difficult from this angle to pick it up because it's put in on the far side of the scrum. We're looking across the ground, but nevertheless, we're differential penalty.
Well, this is the time, Greg. New South Wales have got to ram home the advantage. They're getting opportunities, and they're not scoring. Queensland may be a little bit more adept at taking the opportunities. New South Wales now have got 2 minutes to grab a try here at Lang Park before half-time.
Now the tap by Elias, 10 metres out, gives it back to Jarvis. Oh, he's put the ball down on tackle one. Picked up by Wally Lewis, and he puts 2 hands around the bill to take it down 4 metres or so. He'll play it back to Rebo. They'll run it out for the 6, for the 5, I would imagine. Then put the foot to the football. Once again, now we've got Canescu. He's on his own quarter line after 3. Pulled down by Big Noel Cleal. Now it's Rebo again. Cleal again, the tackler over the top. 26 out from the Queensland line. Plays it back to Dowling. Can he make some yards? 1 or 2 maybe. Jarvis over the top. Also Cleal. Benny Elias around the legs. It's with Canescu. It goes to Murray. Out wide to Lewis. And there's the kick as predicted. High. Not a great one. But taken by Eric Grove. Oh, and the pressure now. Shearer coming through to knock him down. The referee says all onside. But to his credit, Grove took that ball. Now he plays it back to Chris Mortimer. Up over the halfway line. Diving for that extra yardage. 45 metres out from the line, plays it back to brother Steve. Stephen makes about 4 or 5 metres before being pulled down by Close. Back to Chris Mortimer now, dummy half, given out to Jarvis, head down, backside up. Borton over the top to drag him to the turf, 30 metres away from the Queensland line. Wayne Pearce now to Steve Mortimer, picks up Brett Kenny. Grease Lightning off the mark, Kenny turns the ball back inside. Gary Jack throws it for Ferguson, picks up Ferguson now off the mark, but he's wrapped up, he gets it away to win. Win out to Michael O'Connor. O'Connor stranded out wide. On his Pat Malone, pushes off Meninga. Murray was the first man to go away from him, but Meninga handles him well now. He plays it to Ferguson, coming away from the touchline.
He's a freak, Ferguson, look at him.
Beats one, offloads back to Steve Mortimer. He has a look, he's only late. Oh, another kick downfield. And it finds Tux once again, putting pressure on the Queenslanders. But alas, I think time will run out. But if they get this scrum down, it'll be 10 metres out from the Queensland line.
There it is, half-time at Lang Park. New South Wales 4, leading Queensland 2. And what a struggle here at Lang Park. No tries in the first half. Both sides really committed totally to defence. The game started in a fiery fashion, and it's been 2 goals to Michael O'Connor, 1 in the 2nd minute of play and 1 in the 33rd, up against Mal Meninga's lone goal for Queensland coming in the 27th minute. So New South Wales 4 leading Queensland 2 at Lang Park in a dour struggle, a ding-dong struggle in the opening State of Origin game here at Lang Park. Uninterrupted rugby league on 2GB News Talk 87 from Carlton, brewers of 2.1 LA, Monia Metal Building Products, Pub Mart and HFC Finance. We'll take a break and be back with a halftime summary.
Every lane's a fast lane. Everyone's in gear. Los Angeles, I can't explain, just know I'm staying here.
And staying with the Australian beer that's a worldwide star.
But the beer for my taste comes from another place.
And that's Foster's Lager, Australia's famous beer.
The Christadelphians say World War III can't be stopped. All nations will soon join a conflict that threatens your survival. Armageddon is near, but the Bible offers you a secure hope in the face of a troubled future. For this reason, the Christadelphians are pleased to invite you to a free Bible address entitled Armageddon, the Day After, to be given by Mr. John McConville of the USA in the Bankstown Town Hall at 7:30 p.m. Remember, it's this Wednesday, 7:30 at the Bankstown Town Hall.